When we think of medieval Europe, we imagine fairy tales of kings and queens, knights in shining armor, and castles rising high above the clouds. But the truth is much darker. Behind those walls lurked torture chambers, rituals of blood, and secrets too terrifying to tell in any schoolbook. Tonight, you will step into that world. A world of pain, fear, and human desperation. Welcome to the dark side of medieval Europe. Imagine being locked inside a coffin, but instead of comfort, your body is pierced by iron spikes. This was the Iron Maiden, an invention of pure cruelty, where victims bled slowly in total darkness, listening to their own heartbeat fade. Your arms and legs tied to a wooden frame, pulled tighter with every turn of the wheel. The rack didn't just stretch bodies, it tore joints apart. Victims often confessed to crimes they never committed, just to make the pain stop. For women accused of gossip or witchcraft, silence came with iron. The Scold's bridle forced a spiked mask inside the mouth, tearing flesh with every word. A punishment not for criminals, but for those who dared speak too much. A chair, covered in thousands of iron spikes. Victims were strapped down, unable to move, their skin pierced in silence. But the true horror? Sometimes they were left alive for days, until blood loss claimed them. In the medieval mind, blood carried sickness, and so they drained it away. Leeches sucked on human flesh while doctors filled bowls with blood. But many patients didn't recover, they simply grew weaker, and died. Imagine drinking crushed human skull mixed with wine, as a cure. Yes, in Europe, the bones of the dead were ground into powder and sold as medicine. The belief was simple: if life once filled the skull, perhaps it could be swallowed to restore your own. Doctors also studied urine as if it were liquid gold. They claimed its color, smell, even taste revealed hidden illness. The truth? They were guessing in the dark, and many lives were lost to their experiments. The Black Death swept across Europe like a storm, killing millions. Corpses lined the streets, rats feasted on the fallen, and the air reeked of decay. Some believed the plague was punishment from God. And so, groups of men called flagellants whipped themselves bloody. Marching through towns, praying their pain would cleanse the world. The plague was so feared that families abandoned their own. A father left his son, a wife left her husband. Love could not survive against the terror of the Black Death. Accused of sorcery, thousands of women were tied to stakes and burned alive. The flames lit not just the night sky, but the fears of an entire society. Possession was real in the medieval mind. Priests chanted, holy water splashed, and demons were believed to scream from the mouths of the damned. But how many were sick, and how many were simply misunderstood? Women accused of witchcraft were tied and thrown into rivers. If they floated, they were guilty. If they drowned, they were innocent, but dead. Either way, no one truly survived. In the dark forests, whispers told of secret gatherings. Cloaked figures, chanting around fires, animal bones scatter. Kings were buried with treasures, crowns, and jewels. But robbers often broke into tombs, leaving skeletons stripped of gold. And legends whispered of curses unleashed upon the thieves. Even at grand feasts, danger was never far. Golden goblets carried not just wine, but poison. One sip could end a dynasty. Beneath castles, prisoners rotted in darkness. Chains clanked, bones piled in corners, and screams echoed unheard. For many, dungeons were not a place of punishment. They were a place of slow death. Medieval Europe was not just knights and chivalry. It was a world of fear, blood, and secrets. Torture devices, plague rituals, witch trials, and royal betrayals, all hidden behind stone walls and whispered in shadows. But remember, if this is what history allowed us to know, what horrors still remain buried, waiting to be uncovered? Think history's creepiest secrets ended with mummies and torture? Think again. In this part, we'll explore even darker corners of human history where death, blood, and ritual collided in ways more terrifying than fiction. In 17th century Europe, people gathered at public executions not just to watch, but to drink fresh blood. They believed the warm liquid held healing powers, especially against epilepsy. Doctors even recommended it, turning death into a disturbing pharmacy. In Strasbourg, hundreds of people suddenly began dancing uncontrollably. Day and night they moved until exhaustion, some even danced to death. Historians still debate mass hysteria, poisoning, or something more sinister? Across England, strange bottles were buried under floors. Filled with hair, nails, pins, and even urine, these witch bottles were believed to trap evil spirits or curse enemies. To stumble upon one today is like holding a piece of someone's darkest fears. In old European folklore, candles made from human fat, known as corpse candles, were said to reveal hidden treasure, or summon spirits of the dead. Some thieves used them during robberies, believing no one could wake while the candle burned. Not all cannibalism was survival, some tribes performed it as sacred ritual. Eating the flesh of warriors was believed to transfer bravery and strength. For outsiders, it was terrifying. For them, it was tradition, binding life and death together. From blood medicine to corpse candles, from dancing plagues to cannibal rituals, human history has been darker than we dare imagine. These stories remind us, sometimes, the creepiest horrors don't come from monsters, but from us. In forgotten libraries across Europe, some books were not bound in leather, but in human skin. Known as anthropodermic bibliopagy, these disturbing volumes often contained medical texts or forbidden knowledge. The shocking truth? People believed it carried power from the dead into the living. During the Renaissance, powdered mummies were sold as medicine. Wealthy Europeans believed eating parts of preserved Egyptian bodies could cure illness or grant strength. This creepy ritual turned death itself into a strange kind of treatment. History doesn't just whisper, sometimes it screams. And in this part of our dark journey, we uncover rituals, punishments, and beliefs so twisted, they make horror movies look tame. In cultures like the Aztecs and Carthaginians, children were sacrificed to gods to bring rain or victory. The most innocent lives were taken in the name of power. Some warriors believed eating the heart of an enemy gave them bravery and strength. What was once a human life became a feast for power. History is not just kings, castles, and battles, it also hides a terrifying side: torture. From devices designed to break bones to machines created to crush souls, humans have invented some of the darkest ways to control, punish, and terrify. Now we'll reveal shocking torture devices that feel more like nightmares than real history. Perhaps the most disturbing, the pear of anguish. A metal device inserted into the victim's mouth or worse, other places, and slowly expanded with a screw, tearing tissue apart from the inside. Designed to cause maximum pain without instant death. Known as the Catherine wheel, this device was used in Europe for public executions. Victims were tied to a large wooden wheel, their bones smashed with hammers before being left to die in the open, a warning for all who watched. Punishment wasn't only physical, it was psychological. The Scold's Bridle, a cruel metal mask with spikes, forced onto people accused of gossip or witchcraft. Victims couldn't speak, and the humiliation destroyed them as much as the pain. From the Vikings came one of the most brutal rituals, the blood eagle. Victims were cut open from the back, ribs broken apart, and lungs pulled out like wings. Some historians debate if it was real, but even the idea shows the terrifying creativity of human cruelty. These devices, and these unbelievable creepy horrible truths are proof that history is not only glorious but also horrifying. Behind the crowns and castles, humanity's past is filled with shadows. What's most shocking is not just the devices themselves, but that people once saw this as normal. Backhand index pointing right. If you want more chilling stories from history's dark side, make sure to like, share, and subscribe.